Section 18 of Tales of the Samurai by Asataro Miyamori. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Tom Booker. The Story of Kimura Shigenari, Part 3. Hideyori faithfully observed his part of the vows of peace, and the outer moat which had constituted the greatest element in the impregnability of his castle was filled up and leveled with the ground. But Ieyasu, who had never had the least intention of fulfilling his part of the treaty, held back the stipulated provinces in spite of all the demands of Hideyori. Hence, in the spring of the following year, hostilities were resumed, and a great army commanded by Ieyasu once more invested the castle of Osaka. The garrison made a stubborn resistance for some weeks, but the fortress was now shorn of its main protection, and most unfortunately the discord between Madame Yodagimi's favorite generals and the other officers assumed formidable dimensions. In consequence, the defenders were severely defeated in more than one engagement, and their numbers were so greatly reduced that it was impossible for them to hold the castle much longer. One night, Sanada Yukimura, the chief of the general staff, met Shigenari in secret. "It is not possible for us to hold out," he said gloomily. "We must effect the escape of our lord out of the castle and convey him to a place of security. He can take refuge in the province of Lord Shimazu. Through him we may be able to do something to retrieve our losses and restore the power of our clan. Some of us must go with our chief, but in order the more easily to get away, the enemy must be deluded with the idea that Hideyori and his bravest warriors have fallen. Therefore, we must leave substitutes behind us who resemble us in some degree. Their bodies will be found, and the enemy will think we are dead and not try to pursue us, as they most certainly would do if they thought we had fled. I have found my substitute. Do you find yours? I must regret that it is necessary for these men to sacrifice their lives for ours, but we must all act for the future good of the clan to which we owe allegiance. All personal considerations must give way. Do you not approve of my plan?" "It is an excellent idea," replied Shigenari after some reflection, "and I heartily approve of it. But if every experienced general leaves the castle, even though substitutes are left, the shrewd Ieyasu will soon suspect the truth. I, at any rate, must remain. I was seen by Ieyasu and his staff only a short time ago. They will not have forgotten my features, and cannot be deceived by another man clad in my armor. Therefore, I leave the escort of our lord and the restoration of the clan to you and the other generals. I will stay alone with the garrison and fight to the last. My death and your life are equally necessary for the sake of our lord. So do not seek to dissuade me. I am resolved." "A truly noble resolve, my friend," said Yukimura with admiration. "Would that I could remain with you. I am reluctant to leave you alone, and we shall miss your help, but if you are determined to do this thing, far be it from me to dissuade you. It must be well known to the enemy that you are a favorite of our lord, and always in close attendance on his person, so when they find your dead body on the field, they will never suspect he has escaped. Your death in this way will be the means of restoring the power of the Toyotomis. I could find it in my heart to envy you, good comrade." "Then that is settled. Tomorrow I will charge the enemy's line with my men, and divert his attention while the rest of you steal out from the rear." After a few words of affectionate farewell, The two men parted knowing they would never meet again. On retiring to his room for a brief rest, Shigenari spoke to his young wife in his usual cheerful manner. "Tomorrow our troops are going to make a sally that will effectually dispose of the enemy," he said. "On such a notable occasion I wish to wear the armor my lord graciously gave me last year. Pray bring it to me." When his wife brought it, he took the helmet, and burning some very precious incense called ranjatai, held the helmet so that the smoke ascended into it. Aoyagi, divining from his manner that he had some solemn motive for this action, felt her heart sink. "You intend to die fighting in tomorrow's engagement. Is it not so, my husband?" "Die fighting?" said Shigenari. "Why do you ask? Does not a soldier always take his life in his hand when he goes to the field of battle?" "Yes, but there is some special reason why I think you will fall tomorrow. I have often heard that a warrior burns incense into his helmet when he is determined to die on the field. I know the castle will fall before long, and I am sure you mean to give up your life in tomorrow's battle. Do not seek to deceive me. I am the daughter of a samurai. I will not let you die alone." "My brave wife, forgive my hesitation in disclosing to you my resolve. I forbore to take you into my confidence, fearing just this thing." Then he gave his wife an account of his conversation with Sanada Yukimura, and of their decision. "Though I give up my life for my lord," he concluded, "do not be so rash as to die with me. It is my wish that you should live, and pray for the prosperity of our Lord. Live for his sake. It is my last request." "Your wish is my law," answered his wife. "I will obey you. I know you will die a glorious death and leave undying fame behind you." Then Aoyagi brought sake and 2 tiny cups, in which they drank to their long farewell. That ceremony over, Aoyagi excused herself and retired to her own apartment. As she did not return, Shigenari, wondering at her long absence, went to seek her, and to his horror and amazement found that she had committed suicide with a short sword that lay beside the lifeless body. A written paper explained her rash act. "Husband," it ran, "forgive my dying before you. I meant to obey you, but I cannot do so. K'ou of China, though a brave warrior, overcome with grief at parting with wife, hesitated shamefully before going to his last battle. In our country, Kiso Yoshinaka showed the same weakness. Not for a moment do I compare you to those men, but still I think that I, who losing you will have no further hope in this world, had better die now before you fight your last fight, and go to wait for you in Hades. Do your best against the foe. We shall meet again in the spirit world. Till then, farewell. Aoyagi." The morning of the next day broke clear and cloudless. It was the first day of the 5th month in the 20th year of Keicho (1615). A large force under the command of Ii Naotaka advanced from the enemy's camp and rushed to the attack. Shigenari met them at the head of 700 cavalry, and a fierce struggle took place. With the strength of desperation, Shigenari's company, though so inferior in numbers, beat back the foe. But as one regiment was beaten, Another and yet another dashed forward to take its place, and it was impossible that the castle party could win in the end. "We must cut our way into the main regiment," said Shigenari during a short breathing space to his faithful retainer Ryokwan, once known as the Tea Priest. "If we can only manage to kill Ii Naotaka, the commander-in-chief, the enemy will be disheartened and we may have some chance." Then, inspired by the example of their leader, the little band hurled themselves on the foe, and unable to stand against such fury, the 4th and 5th companies fell back in disorder, and it seemed that a general rout would be the result. E alone stood his ground. Brandishing his sai-hai, or baton, he roared in stentorian tones, "Cowards! Do you fly before such a handful? Back, back, and the day is ours!" His words took instant effect. His flying troops rallied, maintained their position, and fought bravely. Seeing this, Shigenari smiled grimly to himself. "Now is my time to break through the lines, kill E, and then die." Putting spurs to his horse, he darted forward swift as a flash of lightning, his brilliant helmet and shining armor gleaming in the sun. Ryokwan followed close with his heavy iron rod, and the rest of the devoted band strove to keep up, cutting and hewing their way through the ranks. So violent was their onset that again I's men wavered. At this critical juncture, Seki Jurozayamon, a samurai noted for his huge strength, suddenly appeared and struck at Shigenari with a great halberd. But Shigenari's spear point pierced clean through his breastplate of mail, and he fell dead from his horse. I's soldiers were panic-stricken, and none ventured to oppose Shigenari, who continued his onward rush and attacked I before he had time to escape. Being no match for his assailant, I must have fallen had it not been for one Fujita Noto no Kami, who came to his rescue. Furious at this check, Shigenari turned to throw him from the saddle with a single thrust, and in that moment I managed to escape. Looking back, Shigenari could see but few of his men. Nearly all had fallen in the melee. Severely wounded and faint with loss of blood, Shigenari realized that he could do no more. Unnoticed, he alighted from his spent horse and retired to a small grove on some elevated ground. His approach was observed by a low fellow belonging to I's camp, who was hiding behind the trees. Such was the estimation in which Shigenari was held, that even in his weakness he inspired awe and dread. The skulking coward did not dare to attack him openly, but as the wounded hero lay gasping on the ground, stole softly up behind him and aimed a blow at his head. Shigenari heard the slight rustle of his approach and turned, whereupon the wretch made off. Shigenari called him back. "Fellow," he said, "whoever you are, come here and take my head." But the man, fearing some trick, hesitated to obey. "Coward!" cried the dying warrior. "You have nothing to fear from me. Cut off my head, but I conjure you not to remove the helmet till you present it to your master, Ieyasu. I am impatient. Cut off my head as I bid you." As he spoke, Shigenari lifted the lower plates of his helmet and stretched out his neck for the blow. As in a trance, the craven crept up and severed the head from the body. Then, gaining courage, he raised the dripping trophy high in the air and shouted at the top of his voice, I, Ando Chozoburo, single-handed have taken the head of Nagato no Kami Shigenari, the most renowned warrior in the Osaka army." The boast reached the ears of a man covered with blood who was still in the thick of the fray. It was Ryokwan. "My lord, Nagato no Kami, was not the man to be killed by such a weakling as Ando," he cried, as loudly as his failing strength would permit. "He had some reason for allowing his head to be cut off. Remember that, my enemies." With that he stabbed himself in his abdomen and expired. After the battle, the head of Shigenari, enclosed in its helmet, was taken to Ieyasu for inspection. It had been the desire of all that day to get the head of the hero, and Ieyasu had the helmet removed for verification. As this was done, the sweet odor of incense floated through the air. The old statesman surveyed the noble features with something of reverent admiration. Never was a more loyal or courageous samurai than Nagato no Kami, he said slowly. "Would that I had many like him." The attempted escape from the castle proved a failure. On May 8th, the besiegers once more attacked the castle on all sides, and there ensued one of the bloodiest struggles in the history of Japan. It resulted in the complete overthrow of Hideyori's faction and the destruction of the castle by fire. The unfortunate nobleman, his mother, and all the maids of honor perished in the flames. End of section 18.